I am George Boston Rhymes, and here in Valdosta, Georgia, something strange is happening. You can have the most respected black man in Valdosta, Reverend Floyd Rhodes, president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the organization that Dr. King did much of his work under, and co-founded it with Joseph Lowry and others. You've heard of a city council meeting. You've heard of county commissioners meetings. You've heard of South Georgia Regional Library meetings. And you've heard of other meetings. You've heard of Floyd Rhodes. No, not Floyd Rhodes. Years ago, you heard of a man being threatened at J.C. Shack Road, and that a weapon was said to be in the mix. One white man was arrested and taken to the Lowndes County Jail. The man that was threatened his name was never published in the newspapers or on televisions or on radio here in South Georgia. I have it documented. That man was Reverend Floyd Rhodes, but they never published his name, that he was a victim of threats at a voting place in the city of Valdosta, Georgia, J.C. Shack Road. There's much information that is hidden here in South Georgia, as if though we don't have an open government, no open records law, no sunshine law that will protect the people's right to know, and that the information will be disseminated by the news media producers. We've had 3 city school boards of education concerning the selection of the superintendent. Black and white rights citizens stood and talked, but the general public don't know nothing about it because the news media here in South Georgia, for the most part, didn't report a word to the general public, and so they are deaf, dumb, and blind to the time. Now, Reverend Rhodes here is at Valdosta City Council meeting, the last one. This man was almost arrested. I repeat, he was almost arrested. He was escorted out of City Hall. But the people in South Georgia here, the blacks, the whites, the Germans, the Mexicans, the Latinos, the Jews, no one else knows anything about it except the 67 people that were in the audience. Because as in the 60s, they said that the peaceful revolution will not be televised, And so let's listen to just a few words. To get the entire speech, just listen to this channel, and you'll get, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. Now, the general public know nothing about this. The people in Atlanta, Georgia, in Macon, Georgia, in Quitman, Georgia, in Coffee County, Georgia, in Tallahassee, in New York, in Pennsylvania, in Oklahoma, nobody knows anything that took place at this particular meeting. No one knows that Floyd Rhodes was almost arrested because the news media treat us as if though when the tree fell in the forest, they tells us through their actions that the forest does not exist and that the tree never fell, and we all are looking at the tree. And now I'm going to let you look at the tree, and I want you to see if the Valdosta Daily Times reported this. They was in the audience. The TV station was in the audience, or they should have been there. The radio stations was in the audience. And I think only Lee Henderson, radio jock at Black Crow Media, reported it. And then even more interesting is that Mayor John Gale was on 92.1 Scott James program following this meeting, public meeting. And prior to, they'll go to 105.9. I listened and I recorded the mayor. And absolutely nothing was said about what you're about to see. Just a little bit, because I want you to know. I don't want you ignorant.
They shouldn't accept it. specifically blacks on this council should not accept a white-dominated administration. Now, look, I'm aware of the blacks who hold important positions in city government. The fire chief is black, one of the deputy city managers is black, the municipal judge is black, the new human resource director is black. The fire chief's two major responsibilities are to prevent and put out fires. And we don't minimize the importance of his job. The deputy manager of public works is black. And
none of this was reported to the general public or to the people that stationed at Moody Air Force Base or the students at Valdosta State University whose parents sent them to Valdosta to receive an education. Yet, listen.
Now, listen. If we don't challenge this system, it will never change. I know you're watching the clock. I may be done in the next 20 seconds. I may not. But let me be clear about something. Nothing changes unless it's challenged. And I would hope that the blacks who own this council will think about the people who put them.
Sorry, time's up, bro.
Yes, we have three options, Mr. Red.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
I understand that.
We might have some other people that want to call your 5. You've been given 5 minutes.
On May the 5th, 2005, 15 of us were arrested and taken to the Lowndes County Jail. But listen.
You can have me excluded out. I'm prepared for that. But I will not just go back to my seat.
We're prepared for that also, so
Sure.
I appreciate you coming. We'll be glad to come before you. You can come before us and talk to us at this time. Thank you, sir. Are there any other citizens wishing to be heard?
As you see, Reverend Floyd Rose are being exiting. He's exiting the building. He's been escorted out of the building. Yet the Valdosta Daily Times consider this not to be news. Your TV stations consider this not to be news, and that the citizens of Valdosta, Quitman, Atlanta, Macon, Pittsburgh, Washington, D.C., they have made a determination, our South Georgia news media, that the citizens no longer need to have this cutting-edge information disseminated among the people. This has been going on for decades, and I personally believe that it's time for a change. And this is why I do what I do, because I really put my life on the line for over 21 years to protect the rights of foreigners in foreign countries. Moreover, these meetings are only given a prelude and a recap on the conservative radio stations, while Green Party, liberals, and others do not know what takes place. And as you can see by the news media, whiteout, that the citizens are living in a state of ignorance. The average black person on the street knows absolutely nothing that their black minister, their black, most respected black minister that stands up for civil rights like Dr. King, were just escorted out of a public meeting in the state of Georgia, and he wanted just a little bit more time to state what he feels is wrong in our community to make it better. To make it better. 15 of us were arrested on May 5th, 2005. And 2 whites were arrested with us. But the South Georgia news media never even said that 2 of the people was white. Lee Touchton spoke here at this public meeting. Lee Touchton spoke at the Valdosta City School Board of Education meeting. John Robertson spoke at the high school, at the City Board of Education meeting. I spoke, and others, and yet 3 different meetings. And for the most part, it was a total whiteout. Just like the meeting over in Brooks County on July the 17th, 2012, wherein people highlighted voting irregularities on the Brooks County Board of Elections. Brian P. Kemp sent an investigator down to investigate people. I gave him a DVD to take back to Brian P. Kemp. The investigator stated that he would get back with us and that we would have a right to go to Atlanta. It was just like a tree falling in the forest. They told us that the forest did not exist, nor did the problems that the citizens brought before that investigator, which I have it all on film, and you can find it all right here on YouTube. I have over 2,000 videos, and I started this when I found out the reason Valdosta is 20 to 30 or 40 years behind other cities is because Valdosta is suffering. And I do mean suffering from not having a news media that will keep the general public informed, much like in communist China or in some other communist nation. And so when the people go to the polls, and vote, they vote on personalities and not on what the elected officials have done, because they don't even know what the elected officials has done. This individual came up, a senior citizen, and asked if he could donate 5 minutes of his time to Reverend Rose. And the mayor said no, and he took his seat, as we are so accustomed to doing in South Georgia. Listen. No.
It's only 5 minutes for each individual.
And so it is. This is kvcr.blogspot.com. Once again, I'm George Boston Rhines. And why did not the South Georgia news media report what took place at Valdosta City Hall in council chambers, wherein people from our beloved community spoke very eloquently concerning issues of our community? Yet you were not told what took place at this public meeting in the state of Georgia by the local news media network. And we will ask you why.
Please Hutchins, 610 Mac Driver. I'm here to talk about diversity. I want to thank you for the unanimous vote on the solar plant.
And this is a white lady concerned about diversity and the unfairness in Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia. She was over the science department at Valdosta State University. And there are other professors at Valdosta State University, as well as Moody Air Force Base, who wants to see the Valdosta and Lowndes County change from the old slave mentality of the 1860s. But it seems like there's much work to be done. Jesus in John 8:32 says, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set and make you free." This is just a small effort in that process to get the United States of America in tune, in some cases, with the rest of the world. Bye-bye. We go.